Sunderland, if the race was to stop now, is actually in front of Esteban Chavez. Unfortunately for Dylan, there's 37.2 k's to go.
It's enough to set alarm bells ringing. Hats off to the youngster for doing this, taking the race back to the World Tour team.
And look at Joe Cooper.
And look at the riders from Mitchell and Scott on the front now.
This is Lucas Hamilton. In second position is Michael Hepburn. Third spot is Robert Power. Then it's Damien Housen, followed by Cameron Meyer.
And the yellow jersey in the centre of the pack, just keeping out of trouble. It's up to his team now to save the day.
Number 75, Joe Cooper. Just moments ago, he was dropped. He goes to the front again for his teammate, Dylan Sunderland.
That's terrific cycling, that.
He is empty in the tank, Joe Cooper, trying to extend the advantage of this breakaway in the outside hope that Dylan Sunderland can provide the biggest upset of the race.
13 riders are surviving at the front here as we go up the climb. The gap is just hovering on the yellow jersey virtual for Dylan Sunderland. At the moment, it's not his. Oh, it is. It's got 73 seconds. It is his. Cooper on the front. Tagged on to the back of the train at the moment is Angus Lyons.
Just inside 2 k's to the top of the climb. Cyrus Monk in second position. Then it is Nathan Earl, who's in the box seat to take out the ISOA Sports King of the Mountains classification. Angus Lyons suffering at the back. Matt Ross 145. He was dropped and he got back on. Hamish Schurters is just in front of him.
And the Dutchman, Martin Budding from Roompot.
The breakaway still being driven by the former Kiwi national time trial champion, who's in time trial mode. That is Joe Cooper, followed by Monk, then Earl.
Well, you can't say the team hasn't done its best here. They've really worked all for one as they continue, as we've got this group of riders. 69 seconds now, that's all. So it's coming back into line again. 106 the lead of Sunderland, 109, 108 they've got.
Angus Lyons from the Mobius team just battling to hold on at the back of the group. The previous lap around, he was sprinting with Nathan Earl, trying to defend the position of his teammate Brad Evans. Number 73, that is Dylan Sunderland. He's got the most to gain. He's the best placed rider from this group in the overall standings. Starting the day in 5th position, 1 minute and 6 seconds behind the yellow jersey of Esteban Chavez. A little over 1 kilometre before they reach the top of the climb. And they'll turn left through King Lake. More points on offer in the race for the Gatorade green jersey. Another descent down towards the Melba Highway, and one last time up the climb to dispute the stage and perhaps a change in the overall standings. Hamilton still setting the tempo, just ahead of Michael Hepburn. They'll still be comfortable with the situation, the Mitchelton Scott team. Now there's a bit of action at the front. That looks like Ian Bibby trying to go forward. James Whelan responding. Then it's Nathan Earl, followed by Michael Vink. Joe Cooper, number 75, paying the price for all the work he's done with this breakaway group.
Back into the engine room to suffer there for Cooper. Just got to hang on. This is the battle for the last King of the Mountains points. If Nathan Earl gets it, done deal. If he doesn't score, then we'll go on count back.
And then you could see also whipping around the outside was Dylan Sunderland. Lasse Norman Hansen was getting distanced ever so slightly. Mads Pedersen was desperately trying to hold on.
In our yo-yo world, Sunderland now the leader of this race on the road again by just 4 seconds.
Well, number 22, that is Earl. 111 is Vink. If Vink can win and Earl finishes 5th or worse over the top of the climb, well, it will be Vink who takes the King of the Mountains jersey. And Earl knows the situation. He is sticking with 111.
He's in a perfect position here. It doesn't look under too much pressure. He's following Vink all of the time. Oh, he got squashed out of that one, and Vink has gone and taken advantage. He's seen there's a gap here. He needs to go. And remember, Earl's gone out the long way now because he needs to be in the first 4. He's straight after Vink. He knows what he's got to do, and it looks like he's going to do it.
Even if Nathan Earl does not catch Michael Vink, he will win the King of the Mountains competition. But he's determined to go out swinging and to go out winning. Vink, he's been bold each time up this climb. He hasn't backed himself in the sprint finishes to the top of the climb in Kinglake. So he's gone long range, and Earl is just about onto his back wheel. Now he's got him. But has he?
No.
Because Vink goes again, and Earl has cracked. So this is the chance for Vink. He will get the 20 points, but what happens with the rest of the group? That is what is all important. It'll be 20 points for Vink. He needs to hope that the remnants of that breakaway catch Nathan Earl and take 2nd, 3rd and 4th away from him.
Well, the way Earl cracked just then, it looked to me as though he may well have been pushed back a bit. There's the 20 points. It gives Vink now 46 points. It is Earl coming over in 2nd place, and that is good enough.
So Nathan Earl, 2nd at the top of the climb. He is the winner of the King of the Mountains classification, provided he finishes the stage.
Well, Vink has certainly won it, and 2nd was Nathan Earl, which means that Earl with 2nd place has done enough. There he is to get the King of the Mountains title. Wasn't too sure though who got 3rd. Could well have been Ian Bibby. We'll just wait for the judges to give us that one. But these two, that was a tremendous piece of riding. Well, Vink did all he could do, and it didn't quite work out.
It looked there as if Earl was just about on him, and Vink kicked again.
I thought Earl had cracked big time there. I mean, he wasn't going to be in the first 4.
Great riding, Michael Vink. Not quite enough to win the ISOA Sports King of the Mountains classification, but brilliant nonetheless. Angus Lyons now number 86 at the back of the group. He has survived the climb. So too is number 16, Mads Pedersen. 73, the Visit Victoria white jersey for the best young rider, Dylan Sunderland. And with all that attacking, Mads Pedersen is going again. With all that attacking, the advantage is out to 1 minute and 23 seconds. And they're looking at each other, trying to work out what to do.
Well, now it's eyes down for the sprint as we go through the finishing line, and really Dylan Sunderland should try and snatch himself a small time bonus on the line of 3 seconds. It will help him out as we go towards the top 3 riders in this race.
He has managed to close it down to Mads Pedersen. Can these guys get themselves organised? This is a good, strong group. These are quality riders out in front. Cyrus Monk wants to keep working. He's the rider off to the left that drives on forward.
Well, this has been a great bike race. These boys have not slipped the peloton, but now the time is nudging forward. And that's going to be a lot of work on this last lap, because now Mitchelton Scott are on the defensive. 106 was Sunderland's deficit. He's now leading by 140.
And as Cyrus Monk goes forward, Sunderland is responding. The Mitchelton Scott team, they're using their riders really smartly. It was Lucas Hamilton up to the top of the climb. They've crested that climb, and now they've still got Michael Hepburn there. He's a former world champion on the track in the individual pursuit. He will now chase all the way through Kinglake down to the Melba Highway before they hit the base of the climb again, where it will be the likes of Lucas Hamilton and Robert Power who take over.
Now watch the rider in 2nd place as we come into the sprint point on the start finishing line. We've got an attack gone there, and I think that was Budding.
It's Pedersen.
Is it Pedersen?
Again.
Well, he's not here.
He's gone, the Danish national champion, the 22-year-old.
Well, that spoilt the party. He's left himself a 32-kilometre time trial. He's got no interest in the sprint points.
Well, if he wins the intermediate sprint, he wins the stage. He moves into 2nd position in the race for the Gatorade green jersey. This is also a statement from Mads Pedersen, one of the rising stars of the Cobbled Classics in the north of Europe throughout the month of April. That is a name to mark down and watch for the future.
I think this is a very, very intelligent move by Pedersen. He knows the peloton are chasing Dylan Sunderland. They're not going to let him go. And he's decided to hopefully be out of sight and out of mind. Look at this now, leaving himself one full lap. He's no interest in the points. He's thinking one thing only, victory 1 lap from now.
Mads Pedersen on his way into the stunning Kinglake, all on his own. When he goes through, he'll hear the bell. Here are the chasers. James Whelan going forward, the Danish national champion.
Oh, how about that for a take?
Nice pair of hands, put him in slips. He could play crickets.
Not for Great Britain, England rather.
He would have dropped it if he played for England.
Oh, you Australians.
150 metres before he hears the bell. Mads Pedersen has been impressive all week long. And he is going out swinging. As he hears the bell with 1 lap remaining. Here come the chasers. And that group is swelling again. They're at 11 seconds behind with Cyrus Monk leading them through.
Pedersen goes through. Monk, Vink, Sunderland, Whelan at 11 seconds now.
Here comes the chase with the remnants of the peloton. That's Michael Hepburn at the front, followed by Lucas Hamilton. It's then Robert Power out of the saddle. The bearded Damien Housen, followed by Cameron Meyer.
Well, another good snatch there by Hepburn. This is not what we're saying, 118 as they come through. The leaderboard over the finishing line will reveal all. 116, it's coming down quickly now. This is going to be the chase of the race. 1 lap to go for the peloton.
Kundecourt sitting in that group in the red colours of Trek Segafredo. He knows the roads well, as we do get the clear indication. 112.
So as we go out onto the last lap, the virtual leader of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour is the youngster Dylan Sunderland, and he's in that front group and he leads the race by about 6 seconds.
Well, now for Mitchelton Scott, they are very much on the defensive, trying to reel that breakaway back in. They don't need to catch the breakaway, but they do need to take at least 20 seconds off it to have some comfort.
This is the big one. That's the result of the intermediate sprint. 6, 4 and 2 in the green jersey points, 3, 2 and 1 in the overall classification. Pedersen needs neither to get a victory there, but he's happy enough with going alone because I think he's planning long term.
And the good news for the Mitchelton Scott team is that Dylan Sunderland missed out on any time bonus at that intermediate sprint.
Well, we have our first 2 winners of the major classifications. We have Nathan Earl winning the ISOA King of the Mountains, and the winner of the Gatorade Green Jersey Points competition will be Steele Von Hoff. So at least we have 1 Australian victory so far.
And there's also the race for the white jersey for the best young rider, and that is a tight tussle. Dylan Sunderland has 48 seconds on Alexander Evans, but Evans is back in this group. James Whelan is in 3rd place at 109, and he's in the breakaway with Sunderland. This is now Robert Power who's going to the front.
And to the good, because he's now reversed it. He's now got Esteban Chavez back in yellow again, the jersey he wears on this final day.
And Pedersen is off in the distance. These are his former breakaway companions who are looking really disorganised. They're feeling the loss of Joe Cooper from this group, who was doing the work for number 73, Dylan Sunderland. Each time this group backed off, Cooper came to the front and maintained their rhythm.
I think they're feeling the loss of Pedersen as well, because there's nobody left to drive this group now. Just on 1 minute. Just over the hill goes the race leader, the Dane, Mats Pedersen.
At this rate, this group will get caught really quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely right. And then it's 1 rider versus the rest.
Robert Power, the big Western Australian, setting the tempo at the front.
And they're using all of their firepower now. They've got to. They'll ride to the limits and then get out the way. And at the end of the day, will they bring back Dylan Sunderland? 105, he leads. He's lost this race so far, 1 minute and 6.
Hepburn in 2nd spot, followed then by Lucas Hamilton. Damien Housen is with the beard. Behind him, the cleanly shaven Cameron Meyer. It's then Anthony Giacopo from Benelong Swiss Wellness. And all of his teammates behind him, they're teammates of Dylan Sunderland. They'll be very pleased with how Dylan's riding.
My only surprise is that the yellow jersey of Chavez isn't tucked in behind this line at the front. That would be the normal position for the race leader. He's in a dangerous position down the field.
He's always so relaxed, Esteban Chavez.
We'll see if they can pull it back. At the moment, the breakaway is moving clear again. This is 1:11.
1:11 to Mads Pedersen, who's off the front, with the peloton being led by Mitchelton Scott. Look at the disorganisation in this second group on the road. Angus Lyons, number 86. Looks as if it is just about done. If he can get over this crest and then somehow get in that tuck position and work his way back onto the slipstream of the Dutchman, he might be in with a chance of surviving a little longer. But that looks like a bow of resignation from Angus Lyons. Or is it? He fights on. He might be able to rejoin. He will. He's into that tuck position.
He's freewheeling back on. The hill hurt him, but he's back. There's a nice descent to get the lactic out of those legs. He's nicely streamlined. Ten riders here, and still Mats Pedersen up the road.
The Danish national champion, one stage victory already. That was in a bunch sprint finish, which is what you would expect from Mads Pedersen. This is impressive. So strong, the big Dane. A man to watch for the classics in the future. This group, the disorganisation continues. That's Michael Vink, who's now at the front for the Brisbane Continental team. Lines, he managed to make it back. Scott from Ballarat.
Well, I'll tell you, Matt, this is a perfect road now for a lone escape, if you've got the strength to do it. Pedersen, this was a planned attack. One lap out. He knows the peloton are hunting the white jersey of Dylan Sunderland. They might forget about him, and that's what he's hoping right now. He's around the corner and out of sight. We'll get a time check as soon as we can.
One more little rise, and finally it is day done for Angus Lyons. He gets distanced. This is James Whelan now in the quarter meant for real estate colours. He just got caught napping at the back of the group.
Yeah, and the Dutchman going as well, Martin Budding from Roompot. Now we'll go and have a look, can we? They've got Vink setting the pace. Cyrus Monk is there. So too is Schurz.
That's Hamish Schurz rolling through to the front, a flick of the elbow. It's then Nathan Earl. The white jersey of the Visit Victoria best young rider, Dylan Sunderland. There's Mads Pedersen. They've still got him well within their sights. And Mads, look at those shoulders rocking and rolling. Understandably, he's starting to struggle.
Well, like everybody at the front today, they're persisting. And I think Pedersen will persist and hope they sit up.
The lone figure of Mads Pedersen as the reaction continues to come from his former breakaway companions.
You can revel in the good life up and down the Yarra Valley, and you can lose yourself in the magical region of the Forested Ranges, or you can visit the historic wineries and the renowned restaurants. One of the world's leading producers of cool climate wines, the Yarra Valley region is also home to chefs, brewers, cider makers and distillers. And of course, you can unwind in the manicured gardens and see what everybody wants to see, the koala.
This is the final lap around Kinglake on the final stage of the 65th edition of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. The situation of the race, there is a breakaway group with Mads Pedersen, the Danish national champion, off the front on his own. Starting in Kinglake, around about a 60-kilometre drive from the heart of Melbourne, 40 k's as the bird flies. It was the smiling Colombian in the yellow jersey, Esteban Chavez, at the start of the day. With his Mitchelton Scott teammates all surrounding him.
96 riders getting underway. The first King of the Mountains was a battle, but it was number 84 who was in trouble there on the climb. And Brad Evans losing his overall lead on the very last day of the race.
Early breakaway group forming. Nathan Earl for the Israel Cycling Academy amongst them. That was the second of the sprints for the King of the Mountains jersey, and he nabbed the points to move into the lead of that classification and now cannot be beaten. He just has to finish the race. He's in the chasing group behind the Dane, Mads Pedersen. This was the final time up the climb. Michael Vink collecting the points.
Doing all he could do, and that was win and then wait and see what happened behind him, and not good news for him. Earl finished second. He became the King of the Mountains. Then as they started the final lap, it was Mads Pedersen, the champion of Denmark, alone in the lead. The remnants of the breakaway chasing him.
Well, it was the final time up the climb in terms of the race for King of the Mountains points. They do go up the climb one more time, but there are no points up for grabs in the race for that King of the Mountains jersey. The breakaway, it includes Dylan Sunderland, who was the best placed overall from that breakaway group, starting the day 1 minute and 6 seconds behind Chavez. And in 5th position overall, Sunderland also wears the white jersey, is the best young rider, as Mads Pedersen makes the left-hand turn onto the Melbourne Highway, 1:13 ahead of the peloton, and around about 12 seconds ahead of his former breakaway companions.
Well, this is a brave move by Pedersen. It's calculated because he knows the tactics being played by the teams in this race. He has a real chance. We're looking at a rider out there up the road, just a lone figure in the distance, who's finished second back in 2013 in the junior version of the great French classic Paris-Roubaix, and in the same year he got the silver medal in the Junior World Road Race Championship. Now he's the champion of Denmark as a senior. Age catches up. Can he stay away?
No, not based on that body language. He looks as if he's resigned himself to the fact that he will be caught by his former breakaway companions. Or is he? Surely all that looking across the shoulder, he must realise he's about to be caught, and he is. And that's his compatriot, number 45, Hansen, collects him.
Compatriot, but not teammate. We're looking at 2 stage winners on days 1 and 2 of this race. And first it was Hansen, then it was Pedersen. Now they're together in tandem.
Well, they've been keeping each other company. Pedersen was second in the prologue, and it was then Hansen that was third. The following day Hansen won. The next day Pedersen won. Now they're off the front together.
We should have understood this. Hansen was in the breakaway at the first lap of this race. He got caught. He's gone again. He's joined the leaders. He's now driving it. That's a very useful ally, and it would be one heck of a sprint between these two.
Neither of them noted climbers, but this isn't a particularly steep climb up to Kinglake, and they're both so powerful and working well together.
Well, Lasse Hansen has done well to get across here, and they can speak the same language, be it English or Danish. Both fluent. 1 minute 8 seconds. Let's not forget the battle for yellow, because at the moment it's still Dylan Sunderland, 2 seconds to the good. Make it 1.
Lasse Norman Hansen just missing the wheel ever so slightly to get into the slipstream of Pedersen. That will hurt him. Pedersen making sure that his compatriot is in contact with him. 1 minute and 7 seconds back to the peloton.
Well, this will be a super fast Danish tandem here. 1:06. The race is tied again as we continue through the beautiful forested countryside here around the park area. It's hard to believe that the bustling city of Melbourne is just about an hour's drive away.
And you could just see Lasse Norman Hansen. He was on the race radio. That's back to the team car. Nicky Sorensen is his sports director. Another one of the Danes on this race. They've had a real impact.
They've had a terrific 2 World Tour teams on the race this year, and the rider on the front is a part of Trek Segafredo. Pro Continental is Aqua Blue. They one day have ambitions to be a World Tour team and to ride the Tour de France, and they've ridden very, very prominently in this race. And now we've got Lasse Norman Hansen driving. Only 19 kilometers to go.
And Hansen has gone across on his own, so he broke away from the remnants of the group. As we now pan out to see what has happened to that contingent of riders that has, for a long time at least, included Dylan Sunderland, the wearer of the white jersey. There they are.
And they're not organised, are they? They're going back to the peloton, I think. It's down to a flat minute now. They've lost some firepower by allowing the 2 Danes. It wouldn't surprise me if that's not Whelan going across now. Or is it? It's Sunderland.
It's Cyrus Monk.
Is it Cyrus Monk?
That will be Cyrus Monk. And then perhaps Sunderland trying to respond.
Looked like a white jersey, but I think it is actually a yellow jersey, and it is Cyrus Monk, and it is Dylan Sunderland.
Well, Cyrus was so good here last year, super aggressive. Dylan Sunderland, the white Visit Victoria jersey, going across to Cyrus Monk. Now, if these two get away from the others from that breakaway, they can settle into a rhythm, just as we see with the 2 Danish riders out in front.
If these two get away and join the leaders, the peloton will quickly sweep up that chasing group, because there's no one left to fire it up.
The race leader, Esteban Chavez. And you're right, Phil, he's been sitting a long way back all day long.
It's not normal for a race leader to be divorced from his team like this. If something were to happen to him now, they would not know quick enough. Normally, he should be at the end of the line of riders, right at the front, keeping out of trouble. The gap, though, is coming down. 58 seconds the spread.
The last day of racing in the summer of cycling, with some huge international stars having raced across Australia throughout the past month and a bit. Esteban Chavez aiming to become the first Colombian to win this race. 57 seconds now for the 2 leaders, which is good news for Esteban Chavez.
It is, and I'm presuming it's the 2 leaders of the peloton, so Dylan, who's trying to reach these 2, is even closer to the peloton. We're being treated to a superb piece of cycling here by 2 top Danish riders. Rival teams, so they're going to fight out the finish together, and they're both very, very fast sprinters. I wouldn't like to bet on which one would win, actually.
No, it would be really tight between these 2 if they were to survive, but the odds are still stacked against them. The disc brakes on the bike of Lasse Norman Hansen. Monk and Sunderland, they are working well together, both fully committed to the chase.
Well, Monk is racing to try and win in front of Mum and Dad, while the boy in white, Dylan Sunderland, is trying to win the race here, and he's trying to reach those 2 strong men at the front. They'll take some catching if they can get over there.
No Australian victory as yet in this year's Jayco Herald Sun Tour. These 2 are making their case for success. Sunderland in white, 5th in the overall standings, climbed outstandingly yesterday to the top of Lake Mountain.
Maybe Lasse Norman Hansen seen them coming just then as he stretched out of the saddle. Now we are about 22 minutes from the finish of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. 22 minutes, and it's poised as a matter of seconds just at this moment.
They're about to be caught. The motorbike is pulling back into a position to watch the 2 young Australians fly by and bridge across to the Danes. Here they come.
There they go, and Cyrus Monk is the pile driver. Dylan Sunderland's been an absolute revelation, and he's racing not just to win the white jersey as the best rookie, but the yellow jersey as the Tour winner.
And he's aiming for stage honours.
And they've seen him coming, they've waited, they need the extra firepower, they know these youngsters have got it. It's 4 against the rest.
And it's when they come together, Cyrus Monk and Dylan Sunderland, they need to go straight to the front, encourage the 2 Danes to keep working with them. And Monk does it. That's maturity from the youngster.
And Mads Pedersen took a good look to see who these guys were and whether he assesses they've got the strength to work with them. And I think the answer is yes, they have.
So it's the Australian under-23 champion Cyrus Monk at the front of the race with a 51-second advantage over the peloton, being led by Michael Hepburn. Hepburn is one of the teammates of the yellow jersey wearer. Esteban Chavez creeping into the picture.
Just There's no friends back there for Mitchelton Scott now. The peloton says, you've got the top 3 places, you chase them down.
Well, there are 4 teams here who definitely will not support the chase. Benelong Swiss Wellness for Sunderland, Drapac EF for Monk, Trek Segafredo for Pedersen, and Aqua Blue for Hansen. Hansen is the passenger now. He's sitting at the back. He's called Sunderland in. And Sunderland, well, he doesn't want to carry any passengers.
Boy,
he's going.
I'd be out there with the checkbook for this youngster. 42 seconds. They are coming back because they're messing about a bit at the front here, and I think Sunderland realised that. He's gone again. Pedersen lightens the road, unloads his bottle. Down we flip left now, bound for the last climb before the finish. 14 kilometres to go.
Oh, a little bit of a headbutt from Hansen onto Cyrus Monk to encourage Monk to go forward. There is no cohesion in this group.
Well, they could be making a big mistake. 35 seconds the spread, so that chase group is very close to being caught. Let's have a look at that headbutt again. Not sure why he did that.
And nor is Cyrus Monk.
No. But you better watch out because the referees could take a stern view of that.
Dylan Sunderland now at the front, 36 seconds. Here comes the chase. The peloton will catch them.
First of all, the remnants of the breakaway. Now they've lost all the firepower. They will be caught pretty quickly. Then it's 4 versus the rest. And the 2 big sprinters of the race are using up all their energy. So the gamble is they either stay clear and win or they get caught and lose.
Well, the sprinters, they normally get accused of sitting in the peloton, not doing any work and just waiting for the final few hundred metres. You can't say that of these 2 in the breakaway.
So see this is the remnants of the breakaway. There's 6 of them left down there.
It's Ian Bibby through to the front with the yellow shoes on.
And the Dutchman got back on the right there.
He did.
Yeah.
Michael Vink still there with the white jersey on, the blue band around it from the Brisbane Continental Cycling Team. James Whelan rolling through to the front for Quartermenta Real Estate. Picked up a medal at the Australian Championships this year, James Whelan, in the under-23 road race behind Cyrus Monk, who was up at the front. I wonder what these 2 are saying. They're sharing the bidden. No headbutts between the 2 Danes.
Oh, they're friends on rival teams, even offered him a drink. They're the sprinters. They expect to take it out if they get to the finish. 31 seconds. The clock is visibly going downwards now. Full reversal. Half a minute's the gap. We've still the climb to come. There's room for good attacks from the peloton on the climb that could reach the leaders and win the day.
Now, is Dylan Sunderland putting himself in a vulnerable position of potentially losing that Best Young Riders jersey? He spent so much energy out in front. They're not too far away from hitting the base of the climb, and his lead in the race for white is only 48 seconds ahead of Alexander Evans, who's been sitting patiently back in the peloton, and Evans almost matched Chavez pedal stroke for pedal stroke yesterday.
But an interesting thought, but he doesn't look like a man likely to get too tired today, Dylan Sunderland. But it is a long climb through the ranges here. We're inside half a minute now. The peloton about to sweep up that breakaway. They've got them in their sights.
Regardless of the outcome, what we do know about Dylan Sunderland is he's prepared to lose everything in the pursuit of victory.
And that's what professional teams like to see. A man not afraid to use his strength and risk all to try and improve.
There he is at the front, the white colours, the man who is risking it all. He's got the Visit Victoria white jersey as the Best Young Rider. Pedersen attacks.
Had to come because he's sensing this group is messing about and he's flown. No reaction from the other Dane. It's up to the 2 youngsters, but as the cars come over the top, I think the peloton is closing right in on them.
Pedersen, this has been a courageous ride all day long, attacking again. He's known as a sprinter of sorts, a strongman for the Spring Classics, and he's on the charge as he heads towards Kinglake.
He has to be the candidate for the most competitive rider of the day, that's for sure.
And one of the most aggressive all week long.
Yep.
The Danish national champion. He's gone from sharing his water bottle with Hansen to attacking his breakaway companions. Here's another look at the move.
And he's only just 22 years of age, this man, so he's a long career ahead of him on a World Tour team.
Only just getting started. A name we'll be talking about for a long time to come as he looks across the shoulder. The suffering commences. That's Monk who is chasing.
Another man to take your hat off to today. Doesn't want to give up. It's 11 kilometres from the finish. Oh, the hill's going to decide the order up here, that's for sure. 18 seconds the gap now to the peloton. And Cyrus Monk is trying to pedal his way away from the rest except Pedersen. He's trying to reach Pedersen just now. He's not very far the other side of our camera, Pedersen. And look at the speed of the youngster here. Cyrus Monk is scurrying across like a scalded cat. There he is, Pedersen. Now this could be an interesting combination. 19 seconds the spread. Two riders have come together 10 kilometres just over to the finish. They could still stay away, these two riders.
Will they work well together? 10 kilometres to go, one final break, and then we're live all the way through to the finish. Pedersen and Monk at the front.
The two riders together, and they're approaching 10 kilometres from the finish, but there's one slight problem: the long climb over the last climb of the hill.
Cyrus Monk and Mads Pedersen holding on to a very small advantage over the peloton, still being led by Mitchelton Scott. They're working well together.
I think these two are the strongest. And I think Pedersen now will be very happy that Cyrus Monk has joined him. Gives him an occasional chance to have a breather. I'm afraid Pedersen will win the sprint if he comes to a sprint at the end. But what a ride by Cyrus Monk. Just dangling off the back here is Hamish Schurz. He was in the breakaway.
He did a great job in the breakaway. He supported his teammate Nathan Earl, who will take out the ISOA Sports King of the Mountains jersey.
Oh,
45, that's Hansen, who was in the break only moments ago. Caught, dropped, goodbye.
He's made the effort. Race over. He's going to just ride into the finish, the last 10 kilometres. Now we're on the lower slopes of the climb, which will take us down once over the top. It's a very fast ride into the finishing line. These two have a real chance here. And Mitchelton Scott are not worried about chasing these two down, because at the finish status quo they win the race.
The Australian Under-23 champion Cyrus Monk, who made a similar move here last year and ended up being beaten by Ian Stannard. It was a great ride by Cyrus Monk 1 year ago. He was without question the most combative on the stage then. Pedersen would get that title today, but Monk, he wants stage honours.
Continues his development, racing through beautiful countryside. A Dane and an Australian holding off the whole field on these last few kilometres of the 65th edition of the Jayco Heddle Sun Tour. This is Australia's oldest multi-day bike race, and so far dominated every day by a foreign rider. One chance to alter that right now, as they continue towards this climb on the steady slopes. As we wind through the beautiful eucalypts, Cyrus Monk being drawn to the finish, knowing mum and dad are waiting to welcome him.
For Pedersen, his parents would have to be tuning in online to the live stream.
And they probably are. Let's hope so.
But they'd be pleased with his performance if they are watching.
Well, he's very just a couple of months older than Cyrus Monk. These two guys are very, very young. Pedersen's got his big break on a World Tour team, and Cyrus Monk won't be far down the road either.
No, he can't be too far away from it. Surely the EF Drapac team are looking at this rider who's on their development squad. They're just about to hit the base of the climb. On the left-hand side is the blue sign that says King of the Mountains start.
King of the Mountain start.
Kinglake is the destination for the final stage of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. Two riders remaining out in front. Mads Pedersen, the Danish national champion, and Cyrus Monk, the Drapac EF. They've just gone past the sign that says King of the Mountain start. 14 seconds is their advantage.
Ooh, it's going to be touch and go as they climb up this long climb to the summit, and then the dive down to the finish in Kinglake itself. Inside 8 kilometers for those around the world who do miles. We're 5 miles from the finish.
Well, they are working well together, but the odds are firmly stacked against them. Esteban Chavez, the yellow jersey, hasn't been seen anywhere near the front today. He already has one stage victory, but the priority today for Chavez is defending yellow.
Pedersen, who's 22 years of age, and only just 22 years of age, on the World Tour Trek Segafredo squad, has won one stage, and he's not very far away from going for his second. But look at this now, the peloton are on the climb. Pedersen has cracked. The youngster Cyrus Monk has broken Pedersen and is going for gold.
But it is Robert Power who is chasing for Mitchelton Scott. Cyrus Monk a year ago, he almost got there, but it was Ian Stannard from Team Sky who took the victory. And Chavez, the yellow jersey, he's up in the third position.
The merciless advance of Mitchelton Scott. They've just never panicked. One by one they've kept the pressure on. They've watched the breakaway explode one by one, and there's only one now left at the front.
And in fourth position in the white jersey, that is Ruben Guerreiro, the Portuguese champion. He's also in fourth position overall, but he's 6 seconds away from a spot on the podium. Number 5, it is Robert Power still setting the tempo, followed then by Damien Housen, last year's overall winner, and in third place in the general classification today.
He's now put himself where he should be. Esteban Chavez up amongst his teammates at the front of the race. He knows now he's preparing for a victory ride over the mountain and down to Kinglake as winner of this race. He's in third place. His biggest rival, who hoped to beat him on the climb, is on his back wheel. The champion of Portugal, Ruben Guerreiro.
Number 5, the Western Australian Robert Power, doing plenty of work at the front, and Cyrus Monk, as brave as he has been, he won't be getting the stage honours today.
Well, there's no heart in the peloton, of course. They're all out to win the bike race, but it would have been nice to have seen this young man ride away to victory today.
Cameron Meyer has moved up alongside Esteban Chavez, and behind Cameron, the white jersey from the Australian national team, that's Lionel Mordaunt, and he knows this road like the back of his hand. It's his backyard.
And now who's going to win? The young champion of Australia has been caught
by his teammate now attacking. This is Jesse Fentonby, who attacked on stage 1 to Warrnambool.
There is a reaction this time. Power's just jumped around Cyrus Monk.
And now it's Evans, the rider in the blue colours. That is Alexander Evans, the revelation of the race yesterday when he was second on the stage. And this is the attack that threatens the white jersey of Dylan Sunderland, who's been in the break all day long.
These young men of Australia have not learnt the protocol of world-class cycling. They hit out at every chance. They just want to stretch those legs. And Evans, as he did yesterday, is saying farewell to the peloton on a climb. And this time, there's nobody in front if he were to get to the line in first place.
And tomorrow, he goes back to work in a bike shop in Bendigo.
Well, I hope he's got a chair, because his legs are going to ache if he stands up all day.
There he is for the Mobius team, Alexander Evans. The reaction is coming, and that looks like it's Chris Harper that's trying to go across. It is Harper. This is Chris Harper now from Benelong Swiss Wellness.
Good chance third in the National Championship. Pipped on the line for second. He was in the sprint for first. And now he's seeing, is there anybody coming up to him? Well, Evans is there.
Well, he also wants to contain Alexander Evans to protect his teammate Dylan Sunderland in the race for the white jersey of Best Young Rider. I can't quite see Sunderland in that group. He might be there. It's hard to spot that white jersey.
Mitchelton Scott have put it all back together again. They've got control of this race now.
The white jersey is there. Dylan Sunderland on the right-hand side of the screen. He's just dropped out of the picture now. So Sunderland is defending his lead in that classification.
In world-class cycling, the groups that finish get the same time, so he only has to stay, and he's just there in the picture now, the white jersey, in the same time to win that white jersey.
This is Robert Power at the front, the first Australian to make the podium at the Tour de l'Avenir, a second place finisher in that race, the race for the stars of the future at the Tour de France. This is Rhys Tucknott with the blue shoes. Liam McGuinness at the back of the group for Drapac EF.
There's Whelan gone through, the Rompot boys from Holland in the orange jerseys.
Michael Vink, 111. He's been very active today and still holding on with this group. Shane Archbold is still in contact.
I think the pace is too quick now to get anybody off the front, so Robbie Power's doing a great job here. But having said that, there's a Benelong boy gone up the inside.
Benelong Swiss Wellness, they've been so active. Chris Harper tries again. His parents are here on the race, they're watching, and now they'll be biting their nails.
Well, everybody was so disappointed that Harper got picked on the line for the silver medal. The bunch caught him just in sight of the finish, literally, and he swept away to third.
That was at the National Championships in Buninyong at the beginning of the year. Harper was so close when he'd broken away with one of his best mates, Alex Edmondson, who got the gold medal. Harper, he starts the day in 6th position, a minute and 9 seconds behind. So no big threat to Chavez.
No, but is a threat to Sunderland, of course. He's only 3 seconds behind Sunderland. He could reverse those positions.
At least they're teammates.
Well, I suppose that's a good point.
And a stage victory. We haven't seen one yet from an Australian. No water bottle on board for Harper. Powder weight is all important. He doesn't want any extra kilograms.
Grinding up towards the top of the climb. We'll switch back to Rhys Tucknott here, who's losing ground on the peloton as we get up towards the summit.
Alex Frame is the man in the red colours. Just in front of him in the green and blue, that is Liam McGuinness. 5 kilometres to go. Michael Vink still holding on to the back of the peloton.
They've actually flown up this climb yet again. We're in the trees and it's a little bit cooler here. But more importantly, these twists and turns, once you get ahead, you're out of sight. And that's a big bonus.
Chris Harper off the front. Multi-talented sports person.
That's the end of Robbie Power. Fair enough. He's done a terrific job to keep this race together for his team. Now it's up to the rest.
Alex Frame, the Kiwi. He's another quick sprinter as well. Number 14. This is Harper, who's a very good junior tennis player. In doubles, his partner was Tanasi Kokonakis. So played at quite the high level, Chris Harper. He's now riding his bike at an international standard.
Nurturing an ambition. Just 5 kilometres, 4.5 now probably to the finish. But the climb is preventing the reaction from the peloton just now. It can change very shortly. These are the boys suffering and hanging on at the back. It looks like Shane Archibald has said enough is enough.
It was, and straight away onto the race radio to let his teammates in that group know that he's gone. And the climbers will be relieved because Archbold would have been very difficult to beat in the sprint. Harper not waiting for the sprint.
This could be the cheeky move that gives the Australians their first stage win of the week. 4 kilometres to go. And at the same time improving his final result up to 5th place overall.
Not many left in this group now, as finally number 111 Michael Vink is cracking, as Maude once again at the front is attacking.
Hugging the inside, trying to keep out of sight of the peloton, but they're right there and they're coming at him.
Guerreiro now, the Portuguese national champion. This is his bid for a spot on the podium, plus stage honours. He collects Chris Harper. Can he go on with it? He can, but he hasn't got enough to create the gap. It's Damien Housen who's behind him.
I'm not surprised. He's only 6 seconds ahead of him in the overall. He's got to hold him all the way up here.
Small gap then to Cameron Meyer. Housen is fighting to hold on to Guerreiro. Chavez is now looking to Cameron Meyer, and Chavez is doing the chasing.
That's a cheeky move by Chavez too, because this is the death throes by the Portuguese champion. The end of his favoured terrain is 100 metres away. He asks Hausen to come through. Why should he? He's ahead of him overall. If he helps him, he could lose that third place. And so it is fittingly enough Guerrero who goes over the top of the climb in first place. Last year's winner Hausen in second, and the counter move is on.
It's Neylands, the Latvian national champion, trying to attack. It's being nullified though by Esteban Chavez. There's Chavez, he's closing it all down, and Chavez with Cameron Meyer in this group, we might see Chavez do the lead out for Meyer to win the stage.
Esteban is the champion-elect now of this year's Jayco Herald Sun Tour. No Colombians ever won this race in its 65-year history. There'll be no change now in the overall. It's a big question, who is going to win the sprint?
Nicholas Egg is the rider now at the front for Trek Segafredo, followed by Chavez in yellow. Neylands is in third position, then Guerrero. The blue colours, that is Alexander Evans. Lionel Mordaunt is there for the Australian national team with the black shoes on. Dylan Sunderland with the white jersey is still there, and Evans is still attacking.
Evans, this group has got away here, and they may stay away to the finish, about 8 or 9 riders, and Evans, who finished second yesterday and introduced himself to us, is at it again on the last stage.
Chavez swings out to the left. I think that's Freddie Ovett who's still in contact at the back of the group.
Well, that climb really cracked the peloton, and the yellow jersey is in it, so there'll be no corrective chasing by the riders on Mitchelton Scott. They've got 3 men up here anyway.
Larry Warbass is there, the American national champion. It is a very select group. There's Evans, the revelation of the race yesterday. He makes another mark on the race today.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting result. 16 riders down there. They've pulled away on the climb. The leaders are there at the Tour. So there could be an unusual winner. This has been a terrific final stage. Aggressive from the minute it all started. Evans, our hero of yesterday, who introduced himself to the world on the climb to Mountain Lake, is trying to steal the show.
The boy from Bendigo looks across the shoulder. The Danish climber Nicholas Egg has closed down onto the back wheel of Evans.
Well, hats off to our motorcycle cameramen here who are holding this, and they have to keep a legal limit away from the race at the same time.
And look out for Sam Crome from Benelong Swiss Wellness. He's got plenty of experience on the track. He's a reasonably quick finisher. Benelong Swiss Wellness, they've got 3 riders in this group. Sunderland in the white jersey, Harper who's been attacking, and Crome is still here. That's Egg still at the front.
And just down the bottom there, the white jersey of Dylan Sunderland, despite his efforts, has gone with the split. There he is, accelerating up on the white line.
Phenomenal performance. Janssen is still there for the Israel Cycling Academy as well.
Larry Warbass, the champion of the USA, has made the split. We're 1 kilometre out from the finish. Damien Howson opens up the sprint. His most glorious final kilometre a year ago when he won this race. Not the day, just the race.
Closing down on him, it's Lionel Mordaunt. Hausen leading out. Cameron Meyer is still in this group. They've got the hopes that Meyer can collect the stage victory. Lots of looking across the shoulder. Evans is moving around the outside again in those light blue colours from Mobius, trying to get himself into a stage winning position. The Benelong Swiss Wellness colours, that's Sam Crome who's moving into the mix. Larry Warbass is up there. This is Meyer who's leading out with Guerrero, the Portuguese national champion, on his wheel. The left-hand turn, 200 metres to go. It's Cameron Meyer who is on the front. Sam Crome is in the box seat, followed by Guerrero. It's Crome now who opens up. He is challenging Cameron Meyer. Sam Crome is over the top, and he collects the biggest win of his career.
And the first for Australia of the week. So it all ends well in the end. But let's not forget the man who has won this, and that is Esteban. There he is, Esteban Chavez. He winds to a halt, gets the congratulations from his teammate and last year's winner, Damien Howson.
Brilliant day for Mitchelton, Scott, and they collect first, second and third in the overall standings. We just need to wait on confirmation for the minor placings on the stage, but Sam Crome the winner, ahead of Cameron Meyer. So Guerrero in third position. He gets a small time bonus, but not enough to move up to third. So it will be Esteban Chavez ahead of Cameron Meyer and Damien Howson in third place in the overall standings.
Yes, Guerrero has lost his third place by just 2 seconds. He really tried to take the bonus on the line. Second would have done it. He finished third. There's the face of the champion. Let's have a look again there, because there's the winner, Sam Crome, then Howson, Meyer, and then the champion of Portugal. As close as that.
Perfect positioning by Sam Crome around that last corner on the